Hello everyone, welcome to Jolly Molly TV. Today we're going to work on another fun block in Kimberbell's Pumpkins and Potions ladder quilt project. In today's video we are going to work on this block right here, which is labeled candle number 1. Alright, so go ahead and grab your plastic pouch or bag system that you've labeled candle number 1, and let's head over to the machine and let's get started stitching. Okay, we're at the machine. I have a bobbin with a little bit of white thread down below. I think I'm going to switch it out and put a full bobbin down there, just so I really don't have anything to worry about for this whole block. And I'll use up this little bobbin on a smaller block, or when I'm just doing like placement lines or something, I can use that up. So let's put a full bobbin down here. Then I'm using my 5x7 hoop for this block. And in my 5x7 hoop, I put a piece of the poly no-show mesh stabilizer in it. So that is ready to go. So let's go to the screen cam and load the design. Okay. So I have a Baby Lock Destiny, which is identical to the Brother Dream machine. If you have something similar, you can follow along. I'm going to go to embroidery. I'm going to go to my flash drive because I keep everything on my flash drive. I'm going to go to Pumpkins and Potions. And it's syncing. There we go. And now I'm going to go to the quilting design. And I am looking for Halloween number 8. There we go. And now I'm looking for a 4x6 design. Here we go, 4x6. That's the one we want with the cauldrons. Okay, click set. It brings it in completely centered. You don't have to do anything. Now I'm going to add a second design. And if you can't add a design, don't worry. You're just going to stitch this out, then clear your machine memory, and then load the machine embroidery design and stitch that out. So I'm going to click add and go back to my flash drive. Back to Pumpkins and Potions, and I am looking for candle number 1. And here is candle number 1. Okay. There we go. It's got the flames flickering there. And the difference really between candle 1, let me go back and show you, and candle 2, is this candle has drips on the sides in different places in candle 2, and the flame is kind of like angled to the left, whereas this flame is kind of angled to the right. So that's the main difference, all right? So I'm going to click candle 1. There we go, and I'm going to click set. It brings it in perfectly centered. I don't need to do anything to it, and I'm going to click embroidery. Okay, and let's go back to the hoop cam. Okay, so now I want you to grab your plastic pouch or plastic bag system that you've labeled candle number 1. And go ahead and pull out all of the fabrics associated with this block. And I'm going to put all these little ones to the side right here. And now I'm going to focus on my background fabric. This fabric is white. So because of that, I'm going to choose to put white thread in the top of my machine, because I want to stitch the next several stitches with this white thread. So if you have the kit, your background fabric will be something different. Or if you're using your own stash, this background fabric may be something different. So choose a thread that blends and coordinates with your own background fabric and load that thread in the top of the machine. And we're going to get stitch in. This is the fun part. All right. I can put the foot down. We got that. I'm going to put the fabric off to one side. Also, you're going to be wanting to grab from your pile a piece of batting, and it's going to be a 5x7 inch piece. Okay, and then also put that to one side so you have everything that you need. All right, so let's put the foot down and let's stitch out the placement line for the batting. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put the batting down. Make sure I cover that placement line on all sides. Here we go. And when I've got that in place, I'm going to hold it down with my stylus, put the foot down, keep your fingers away from the moving needle, and let's tack down this batting. All right, now I'm going to take the hoop off the machine, and I want you to take this over to the table, and I want you to trim away all of the excess batting from all four sides, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so that's all trimmed up. Now let's put the foot down, keep the same color thread up on top, and let's stitch out the placement line for the fabric. Go ahead and put your background fabric down, making sure you cover all sides of that placement line, and use your fingers to kind of feel for the batting. Then you can also know you can kind of center your block right there because you know where the edges of the batting are, and you're perfectly covered. There's going to be a lot of fabric that's going to get cut away here, basically from here on out, so you have a lot of wiggle room. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just as long as you've covered those placement lines, you're good. All right, so let's put the foot down, keep the same color thread up on top, and let's tack down this fabric. I just want to say a huge thank you to Kimberbell for sponsoring me in this project and for providing the Pumpkins and Potions Quilting Bundle for me to use in this project. This quilting bundle is amazing. It is definitely something that you can look at in order to enhance this project. It comes with all of these amazing designs. You get a cauldron, you get a spider web, some happy ghosts that look like they have little glasses on. This border is amazing. I cannot wait to show you the borders. And you get this cool pumpkin and ghost and 31 on there. It's just a bunch of fun. So if you're able to get this quilting bundle, it's going to just make your project pop. The borders, I cannot wait. Look at these borders. There's two of them, and I'm going to try to incorporate both of them in this project. You get enough files in each of the designs to be able to do any combination of size that you could possibly think of for this project and our other projects. And you also get the block towel sizes for the clear blue towels quilting method as well in each of the designs. So I highly recommend, if you can do this, this is amazing. Please use the link in the description below to purchase the bundle from Kimberbell.com. Okay, so now you have a decision to make. What color thread do you want to do your quilting in? I'm going to be doing my candle as a black candle with a little white at the top part. So I want my quilting to blend in. I don't want it to distract from that candle. So I'm going to go ahead and do my quilting in white, which is the same color as my background. You choose what color thread you would like to do your quilting in. Put that in the top of your machine and put the foot down, and let's stitch this out. It's a 2-minute in real life stitch out. Enjoy. Okay, that is so pretty. All right, so now we're going to stitch out the placement line for the wax. And because my wax fabric is also the white glitter, I'm going to leave white thread in the top of my machine. And let's put the foot down and stitch this out. Okay, so I'm going to go put that piece of fabric down, making sure I've covered all of the placement line. Definitely use the stylus to hold this down. Keep your fingers away from the moving needle. And let's tack down the wax, the top of the candle part. Okay, now I want you to take the hoop off the machine and take this to a table, and I want you to trim away all of the excess fabric from around that stitch line, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, that is trimmed up. And you're probably asking the question, well, if your applique is the same as the background, why do you need to do the applique? Well, you do in one instance is because the background fabric, that is my glitter, has the quilting in it. And if I were to just leave it as the background fabric, the quilting would actually show up as part of the candle, which it would be kind of nice to have a solid part on the top of the candle. So that's why I went ahead and still did the applique. So we have a solid candle top. All right, so now we need to choose what we're going to do for the next step. I have another surprise. You know me, I'm full of surprises. I am going to be doing a different color fabric for my candle, and that's going to determine what color thread I put in next. And what color candle do you think I'm going to do? Well, if you guess something with glitter, you know me very, very well. All right, this is an embroidery vinyl. It's kind of hard to see, but it is a glitter vinyl that's soft, flexible, pliable like fabric, and it has a meshed fabric back. So it has a support and ability to withstand a lot more stitches than the heat transfer vinyl. The heat transfer vinyl is great for applique for parts where you're not going to have a satin stitch outline. If you watched one of my previous videos, I tested using heat transfer vinyl on something that had satin stitches, and it literally just cuts the satin stitch outline around your heat transfer vinyl and you can pick it right up. So heat transfer vinyl is great for small areas that do not have satin stitches around it. And then embroidery vinyl is something that you can use to replace fabric that can stand up to those satin stitches because it has this really cool mesh background. So that is going to be my candle. So based on that black glitter, I need to put black thread now on the top of my machine. So what color fabric is your candle going to be? Or embroidery vinyl, what color is that going to be? And that's the color of thread that you need to put in the top of the machine, because the next step is the placement line for this fabric slash embroidery vinyl. Woohoo! I love embroidery vinyl. It just adds such a cool effect to all of Kimberbell's projects. So the embellishment kit comes up with a whole bunch of cool stuff and heat transfer vinyl, and they've allotted their stitches for that. And then the other areas, I can use embroidery vinyl that mimics fabric to embellish even more in my projects. So that's what I find so much fun about Kimberbell. You can make it your own. Okay, so now we're going to put the foot down and we're going to stitch out the placement line for that fabric. Here we go. Okay, so let me get rid of that little thread here at the top. There we go. So now I'm going to leave black thread up on top, and I'm going to position my black glitter embroidery vinyl just so it covers all parts. I normally don't pre-cut any of my embellishments because I can maximize what I can get out of a piece. So even though this is a big, huge roll, I'm just going to lay part of it right down here. I'm going to put the foot down, and I'm just going to hold the roll up on top so it doesn't interfere with the hoop in any way. Right about there. And we're going to tack down this embroidery vinyl. Here we go. Okay, just kind of make sure you hold that roll up so it doesn't get in the way of the arm or the needle. All right, isn't this cool? I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen because up close it gets kind of blurry, but that's so pretty. All right, so now I want you to take your hoop off the machine, go to the table, And with a used fabric or embroidery vinyl, I want you to trim away the excess from around the outside of that stitch line using a pair of curved scissors. All right, and I'll meet you right back here. Ooh, isn't that cool? It's really hard to see, but isn't that cool? The black glitter gives it a little bit of 3-dimension too, because it's a little bit thicker than the fabric would be. So I love that effect. If you're ever interested in doing any machine embroidery with this embroidery vinyl, I've included a link in the description below as to where I purchased this on Etsy. All right, so the next step, because I'm doing a black candle, I'm going to be doing a satin stitch around that black fabric. So I want to put a black bobbin down below. And I still have black thread up on top. That way if there's any tension issues with your machine, it's pulling black thread up to match the black thread up on top. So you won't have a black and white scenario there, which you might not have, but this helps eliminate the chances of having that happen. Okay, so now here we go. We're going to stitch out the satin stitch around the candle. This is a 4-minute in real life stitch out. Enjoy. Isn't that cool? I love a good satin stitch. I always love how it finishes it off with class. It's just so pretty. Okay, so now I'm taking the black thread out of my machine and I'm going to put white thread back up and top because it's going to stitch kind of like a melted wax on this, and because I have a white fabric up here at the top, I'm going to put the white kind of a drip and then an accent around that. So pick the color thread you would like to do that in for your block and load that in the top of the machine. This is only a 1-minute stitch out. And you got this, all right? Let's thread that needle. And no loops, foot down, and let's go. Okay, there we go. That's cool. So now we're going to put black thread up on the top. You don't have to switch the bobbin out for this one. Just put black thread up on top because we're going to stitch the wick of the candle. So you don't need to do a black bobbin down below for this one. All right, this is another 1-minute stitch out. You got this. It's coming together nicely. And here we go. All right, so the next step is going to be the outer flame. So I have picked my fabric for the outer flame, which is going to be this gold fairy frost fabric from Michael Miller. I think that's going to be so much fun. So in order to match that, I'm going to put gold thread in the top of my machine, getting my black thread out here. I'm going to put a matching gold thread up above. So what color do you have as your background to the flame? Is it gold? Is it purple? You pick whatever color fabric you want for your flame and then match that thread up above. And this is only a 1-minute stitch out. This is going to be the placement line for the outer flame. So let's load that thread up and let's stitch out the placement line. Here we go. Easy enough. So let me take the hoop off just so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this fabric down on top. Make sure I've covered the placement line on all sides. I'm going to put the hoop back on. And I'm going to hold it down with my stylus. Keep your fingers away from the moving needle. And let's tack down this fabric. Cool. All right, take your hoop gently off the machine. And I want you to take it over to a table. And then I want you to trim away all of this excess fabric from around the outside edge of that stitch line. I'll meet you right back here. That is looking nice. Okay, now we're going to stitch a decorative outline around the outside of the flame. So I'm going to leave gold thread up on the top to match my fabric. All right, so put the foot down and let's stitch this out, a 1 minute stitch out. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my thread first. And I'm going to put black thread in the top because now we're going to stitch an outline and then we're going to stitch the middle fill. Okay, I got my hoop to one side. So let me get the gold thread off my machine and put black thread up on top. Okay, that's step one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave white down below because we're doing a kind of a fill stitch and you won't have any tension issues with just a fill stitch. Okay, so now is the fun part. Now you get to go to your embellishment kit. And in that embellishment kit, you are going to find a yellow tinted piece of glitter clear vinyl. Isn't that pretty? The hardest part is going to be figuring which side you want facing up because mine, there's about 50-50 of the sparkles showing upwards on both sides. So it's really hard to see which is the prettiest side because they're both pretty. All right, so pick a side. They're so pretty. I'm going to go with this side. All right, so now what I want you to do is I want you to place the glitter vinyl down. Leave about 1/4 of an inch on the left side and place it so that it's going to stitch and cover the entire part of that flame. All right, this is why I don't pre-cut my embellishments because technically I could probably get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 or 6 flames out of one piece if I position it like this. Okay, or you could use it for any other project. You know what I mean? All right, so I'm going to put the hoop on. I'm going to hold it down with my stylus. I've got black thread because it's going to tack this down on the outside and do a fill. All right, so let's enjoy this. This is a 1 minute stitch out. Here we go. Keep your fingers away from the moving needle. Awesome. You did it. Look at that. All right, we got one thing left to do here. We got to trim away all of the excess of this vinyl very carefully and closely, but don't nick the stitches. There's no stitches after this. This is it. So it's going to be what they call raw edge applique. So just try to cut as neat and as close as you can, and I'll meet you right back here. Isn't that fun? I love that look. All right. So now let's take this hoop over to the table and I'm going to show you how to finish up this block. This was fun. All right, we're at the table and I love that accent of the glitter vinyl. It just makes it so much fun. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is we have to square this block up. And this block is going to measure 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And I want you to look for this outer stitch line because that's what we're going to use to trim up this block. Let's measure it and see what those stitch lines measure. From here to here is right on 4.5. It's like perfect. And from the top line to the bottom is just a hair under 6.5. So we can definitely use those lines to trim up the block. So I'm going to put the block on its side to begin with, because my ruler is a little bit more in line with the measurement on this stabilizer in here. And I can tell that this stitch line's not 100% straight. It's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler on this stitch line as I put my ruler on this stitch line here at the top of the candle, and I'm going to go just a little bit past. And can I see the stitch line? Yes, I can. It's just under the ruler, so I'm safe to make my first cut. All right. I say that comment, can I see the stitch line? It's because that way I make sure I'm not accidentally cutting in the block. If I can see the stitch line underneath my ruler, then I know I'm in the right spot to trim, because we don't want to ruin our candle. All right, so I'm on 16. I'm going to go down to 10.5 on my ruler. And I can see that's really good. So I'm lined up. I'm lined up on my mat. Can I see the stitch line? Yes, I can. It's just under the ruler. Make my cut. If you make that your mantra, then you know that you're going to be like mentally like, oh, am I safe to cut? Yes, I am. Or oops, no, I'm not. Okay. So now we just got to do the other two sides. I'm going to line this up on the mat a little bit. This stitch line's nice and straight. So I'm going just past it. Make my first cut. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do, let's go to 15. And then I'm going to go to 11.5 on my mat. My mat's reversed for the moment because I've worn this side out. Now I'm trying to wear this side out. So I have to do subtraction instead of increase when you do your calculations. So I go from 15 down to 11.5 because that equals 4.5. Can I see that stitch line? Yes, I can. Just underneath the ruler, and I make my last cut. And now you have a really classy, cute looking candle. This is candle number 1. Isn't that fun? All right, so I hope you had as much fun today making this block as I have, and I hope you stay tuned here on Jolly Molly TV for more fun and more blocks in Kimberbell's amazing project, Pumpkins and Potions. And until I see you next time, take care and happy stitching. Bye-bye.